People rarely come to get their reading done because life is nice and peachy, but because they are encountering some challenges and need answers to their questions. The two main questions invariably revolve around career and money and love. I guess if we have a career we like, enough money to live, and are with the love of our life, then things are good, right? Finding a good relationship is not easy, but it is not impossible. So please stay tuned. At the end of this video, I will give you one of the most effective ways to attract the person of your dreams. So, what does astrology have to say about relationships? This is what we shall find out here today. Good morning, bonjour, welcome to my channel where we talk about all things astrological. Michelle Karen, astrologer, shaman, author of Astrology for Enlightenment, published by Simon & Schuster, New York, as well as the astrologically based Oracle deck, Attuning with the Quantum. I was selected to be the astrologer to the stars at the 78th Academy Awards in Hollywood. As you know, a natal chart is a picture of the heavens based on our full date, time, and place of birth. In that sense, we are each a crystallization of a moment in time and space. Because each of us is unique, we are thankfully not all attracted to the same things in relationships. Astrology, in its wisdom, separates friendship, 11th house, romance, 5th house, marriage, 7th house, and sexuality, 8th house. And it makes perfect sense. We can love someone we shall never be intimate with or marry, or, not advised, for many energetic and spiritual reasons, we can marry or have sex with someone we don't love, or sadly can be married to someone we do not have sex with. The best case scenario, of course, is to be married to the person we love, are best friends with, and enjoy a good sexual relationship with. It is easy to feel we are enlightened when we are alone with ourselves, but the truth is we are social creatures. No one is really separate from anyone else, and relationships are both powerful mirrors and amazing teachers. The consequences of a love relationship are extremely complex and far reaching. Depending on who we are with, it will change our life and sometimes even our destiny, exert a powerful influence on our social circle, our career sometimes, where we live in some cases, our finances maybe, our family connections, our hobbies, the activities we engage in, even our ideas or beliefs. And most of all, how we are hindered or supported in our personal growth, or of course, best case scenario, enriched. Many enter a relationship out of a fear of staying alone, for comfort, for security, or status reasons, but the only good reason should be because of true love. But even love is often misunderstood or misconstrued. In spiritual circles, we hear a lot of people claiming they met their soulmate, their twin flame. I don't know. These are very big words that cannot be proven and that most of the time relate to just plain lust. So let's be careful. We also often focus on what we have in common with another, yet it has been proven that it is our differences that keep us together. So the 10 planets, actually there are 12, but that's another story for another video. Each of those 10 known planets represents a principle of life. In that, astrology reveals the path to a good relationship. It requires that we are compatible, that we have compatible personalities and can admire each other, the sun, similar views on how to live our daily life, the moon, good communication, very important, Mercury, are in love, obviously Venus. Are sexually compatible, Mars. Have integrity, are honest and trust each other, Jupiter. Have standards, respect for each other, are dependable and responsible, as well as have clear boundaries, Saturn. And boundaries are very important because we all have things that we can accept and things that are absolute deal breakers. And these should be clearly stated at the beginning of a relationship for it to have a chance of continuing. It is also essential that we are best friends with each other and retain our independence and unique individuality, Uranus, are connected spiritually, Neptune, and are fiercely loyal to each other and deeply passionate, Pluto. While it is impossible to find an absolutely perfect compatibility between two people, some couples are much more harmoniously matched than others. Personally, as an astrologer, I would never discourage two people who are in love from being together because one, who am I to judge? And two, there can be many different reasons for being attracted to someone. Even if this is not the person for us for the rest of our lives, it could be a karmic debt we have to resolve, or a lesson we have to learn, or a test we have to go through. Either way, that relationship, even if it doesn't last, if we are open and willing to learn, has something valuable to bring us. Knowing our own and each other's strengths, weaknesses, and what we need to develop to become better human beings gives us a chance to become more tolerant and understanding of each other. Analyzing a relationship astrologically is both rich and complex in that we, as relationships are, as before we even consider the interaction with another, we first need to look at the basic relationship makeup and needs of each person individually. Among other elements, their respective Venuses should be aligned in order for them to have a similar approach to love. In a woman's chart, Venus indicates how she expresses her femininity, and in the chart of a man, what he is looking for in a woman. For example, a woman who has Venus in Sagittarius is adventurous, enthusiastic, has a lot of faith in love, and more than anything, places a lot of value on honesty and integrity. A man who has Venus in Virgo seeks a woman who is reasonably good looking, even though that would not be as important to him as her intelligence, cleanliness, and punctuality. He would want a woman who is orderly, discreet, and kind. So those two would get along with each other, even though Venus, Virgo and Sag are not best friends. But if one is Virgo and the other one is Capricorn, it would work. The position of Mars indicates our sexual needs. In a woman's chart, it represents what kind of man she's attracted to. In a man's chart, what kind of man he is. For example, a woman who has Mars in Capricorn will fall for a man who is ambitious, strong, solid, hardworking, mature, and responsible. A man who has Mars in Scorpio is passionate, sexual, very intense, and extremely loyal. Because Capricorn and Scorpio are in harmony with each other, that woman and that man would be sexually compatible. Communication is also important. For example, a man who has Mercury in Virgo, which makes him attentive to details, highly intelligent, has practical reasoning abilities and specialized skills, will get along well with a woman who has Mercury in Capricorn because they're both in earth signs. She is practical as he is, but she's also organized, methodical, capable of extended concentration and great patience. When determining astrologically how two people will get along, astrology offers us two basic ways: synastry and composite charts. Synastry And I know it sounds weird, but it's not sinister at all. Trust me. Synastry is a comparison of the birth chart of one to the birth chart of the other. So the positions of Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, the slow moving planets, are very important in terms of the aspects, angular relationships they form to the personal planets, the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars of another. For example, in the charts of a man and a woman of compatible age, if the Pluto of the woman is conjunct the Venus of the man, there will be an intense romantic sexual attraction that is most likely karmic in nature, meaning that they already have been lovers in many lifetimes. There is also a deep shared understanding of spiritual values. If the Uranus of a man is square, which is a 90-degree angle, a little more challenging, the Venus of a woman, there will be a great mutual fascination, mental excitement, and a powerful sexual attraction. But unexpected, unforeseen events could disrupt the relationship. The man may seem, not that he is necessary, but he may seem at times eccentric, unreliable, or inconsistent. This does not make the relationship bad, but it will require, on the part of the woman, extra understanding and flexibility, which in turn will end up being a very valuable learning experience, promoting greater growth for her. The other way to determine the purpose of two people coming together is by establishing their composite chart. Composite charts are calculating by taking the positions of both their suns, and the midpoint of both their suns determines the position of their composite sun. And repeat the process with all the other planets. So we take the two moons, the midpoint of the two moons is the moon of their composite chart, etc. The composite chart shows how a couple appears in the world. We all have known people whom we saw a certain way, and when we met them with their significant other, a completely different image emerged. For example, a composite chart of two people that would have a lot of planets in the fourth and the sixth house, so the houses are areas of experience, signifies that the external persona of this couple is one of service. They came together with duties, tasks, and a common goal to fulfill together, and they need to do this selflessly. But they also have a very strong emotional connection. Fourth house are deeply involved in each other's inner depths and need to share their lives as intimately as possible. So, this would definitely be a couple who ends up living together. If nothing is more wonderful than being in a good relationship, being in a toxic one can prove extremely destructive. I believe that ultimately it is essential that we know ourselves first and foremost, and that we are happy or feel good and are okay living alone. There is an ancient wise law in England that states that we should allow 7 years between a divorce and a remarriage, which, from an astrological point of view, makes total sense in that this is a quarter of a Saturn cycle, and Saturn represents the wisdom that comes from discipline, responsibility, and maturity, as well as aloneness. By the way, when I talk about marriage, we don't care about the legalities. Astrologically, a marriage is a commitment of two people to each other and a common vision. So, Hollywood movies have seduced us into thinking that once we meet our perfect partner, all becomes magical in our lives, which, in the best case scenario, is true, but we can only attract our significant other once we have fallen in love with ourselves and our lives and are self sufficient. We may still want a relationship, but we don't need one. If we are waiting for someone to save us, boost our self esteem, or make us complete, this is a losing proposition because we are only going to attract half-baked individuals looking for the same, and two fragmented beings have never created wholeness or holiness. They will always remain codependent of each other and eventually implode or find that they have to sacrifice important parts of themselves to just survive in the relationship. A true marriage can only happen to me, can only happen between two people who are each complete in their own right, thus becoming the two pillars of the temple between whom life can flow. So, at the beginning of this video, I promised you I would tell you one of the most effective ways of attracting the person of our dreams. My natal moon being in Virgo, I love making lists, so guilty as charged. But start on a Monday. Take a notebook and describe what you want in your partner as precisely as possible in a series of bullet points. Third person, present tense, and all positive. This is very important. So, for example, my life partner is positive, hardworking, mature, responsible, sober, fit, educated, loves to travel, has a work he or she can do from anywhere in the world, loves to dance, etc. And let us not forget the obvious, because the universe has sometimes a wicked sense of humor. I had a friend who created such a list for finding the right home for herself. So she wanted a spiraling staircase, which she got as a decoration in a corner. I kid you not. Because she thought this was obvious, she had omitted to mention she wanted a second floor. To her dismay, she found out the hard way that the universe needs specifics. So don't forget to write somebody who is free, ready to commit, madly in love with me, etc., etc. The only thing we should never write down is their age or physical appearance. We need to focus on the contents of the relationship. Its form, that's the universe's job and surprise for us. Once we are done with this list, let us scotch tape the 2 pages, and the next day, without reading what we wrote the previous day, we start our complete list all over again. So we may write exactly the same things, some new things may emerge, we may omit some elements, it doesn't matter. Every single day will be a complete new day for a complete new list. And we shall do this 5 days in a row from Monday to Friday. So if one day you're a little tired, you don't have time, that's okay. Still write something in your notebook. Leave the notebook alone for the weekend. The second week, same thing. From Monday to Friday, alone the weekend. Third week, same thing. From Monday to Friday, alone the weekend. The idea of recreating our complete list 15 times is to dig deeper in ourselves. It will force us to look at our past relationships, what worked, what didn't, movies we saw, novels we read, maybe the relationships of friends we have. And this is an incredibly fun and empowering process. The fourth week, the first day, Monday, we cut all our scotch tapes and read our notebook from beginning to end as if it were somebody else's. The second day, we'll do nothing. And the third, we'll make the exhaustive list of everything that came up during those 3 weeks. So obviously, if something was repeated 15 times, it only goes once in our final list. But if something came up only once but feels important, it goes also in our final list. We can then throw our notebook away, burn it, whatever we want. It has served its purpose. And we'll make 2 copies of that final list. One that will go in a beautiful box in our bedroom, and the other that we shall read leisurely is important, from time to time, thanking that person for already being in our life. And this is another secret. Most people fail in creating the love of their dreams because they focus on the distance between their present reality as a single person and the kind of couple scenario they wish to create. Thus, focusing on the gap, on the void, on I'm alone situation. The more we visualize what we want as having already happened, the sooner it will manifest. Another benefit of making this list is that we can then clearly see what we may need to improve in ourselves to be worthy of that person we wish to share our life with. If we want somebody who is fit, cultured, being a couch potato, only watching sitcoms is not going to cut it. We may need to sign up to a gym, take yoga classes, start reading, taking an interest in documentaries, visiting museums, learning something new, traveling. You get the idea. I'd like to end with a little story that really touched me. I was once giving a conference in Colorado where I met an elderly American Indian couple, and they looked absolutely radiant. And the lady introduced the man she was with as her lover. And to my surprise, I found out later that they actually had been married for 40 plus years. And yet, even though it was her husband, she was still introducing him as her lover. And I thought this was so beautiful, especially in our day and age when sex devoid of love, pornography have become so normalized that it prevails literally everywhere. I mean, it's shoved in our face in music, film, fashion, advertisement. And to me, this is basically the new black magic of our times. And I think it's very important to return to the sacredness of marriage. And again, I'm not necessarily talking about marriage in a legal way, but as a deep, intimate connection between just two people who, out of respect for themselves and each other, never allow themselves to engage in seemingly innocent flirting or touching physically anyone but their beloved. If you are already subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I also appreciate always your comments. If you like this video, you are welcome to put a thumbs up. Hit that bell to be notified when I upload a new video once, sometimes twice a week. Remember, as always, choose your battles, walk in beauty. Thank you for watching. Until next time.